Hello and welcome back to my channel. I'm Rachel and I have so much to share with you this week leading up to Christmas. There are so many adventures to share. Let's get started with our first day being Sunday, and normally I cook a whole lot of food on Sundays, but this time it was just kind of a laid back day and I just used some leftovers and whipped up some red beans and rice. I started off with a box of rice-a-roni Spanish rice, and I just put some oil in my pan and I am browning up that vermicelli and rice mix. I added the recommended amount of water and then the seasoning packet. After I had that pasta nice and golden brown, I'm using the remaining amount of salsa that's in this jar, and I added a little bit of water just to get the remaining bits out of it. I also used some leftover taco meat, and that is what made this a really quick and easy meal because I already had my meat cooked up, and so all I had to do was just toss it right in. Here in Michigan, it is cold and it is dark by 4 o'clock in the day, and so we're constantly living in the dark and just looking for comfort food, just kind of hunkering down. At least that's what I do. I drained and I rinsed a can of dark red kidney beans and added that as well. Then I just put the lid on and let it cook until that rice was all softened and plumped up. And then I just added some cheese to my bowl and a little bit of sour cream, and that was dinner. This was a really good snuggle up with a nice warm blankie and watch Hallmark movies on a Sunday dinner. On Monday, it was Christmas bonus time, and I only had to work one day that week. So I talked Bill into going out for dinner just to kind of celebrate our upcoming vacation. I also had a lot to do and get done before Christmas and before we went on our trip. Oh, I have so much to do today, and I thought that it was later than it is, and so I tried to go into Salvation Army looking for a Christmas outfit. The Salvation Army. So, does anybody else do that? Like, I need something to wear. Let me go shopping at a thrift store. But yeah, that's me. That's what I do. It's cold. It's very, very freezing out. So, I look a little crazy today, but it's windy. It's freezing cold today. And so I have 5 minutes to wait before I can go into the store, and I'm not going to stand outside for 5 minutes because I can't take it. I tried, it's too cold. So I'm in my car. I look like this today just because I got up and got going right away, just thinking I'm gonna go do what I need to do out in the world. It's so cold, and then get back home as soon as possible so that I can start cooking, wrapping presents, and all that fun stuff. But I need an outfit, at least a sweater or something. So just waiting, and then I'm going back in. But this is how today is starting off. I did find a red sweater and a red buffalo plaid flannel shirt, but I also found a ton of mason jars and some candle holders. I love this bowl, but there was a chip in it, so I passed on this for now. Seemed like I was finding a lot of things that were half off, like this blue stickered dish. I did pick up these white bowls. I thought those would be great for inside my china hutch. Alright, so I've been into Five Below and I've been into the Salvation Army. I'm getting ready to go into Walmart and it is time to fuel up. I also have a diet lemonade, which is really hitting the spot today, and I need that to keep going this morning. And I think I'm spilling my sauce, so I better get going. I'm back home and I'm getting some things around to make my dips. This has been such a busy and hectic day, and there's so many things that we have to do still. We're going to Chicago tomorrow for a couple days, and so we're trying to finish up a lot of things that are still kind of up in the air for Christmas, as well as getting presents wrapped. Actually, you know, you were with me earlier, I went shopping for Christmas today. So, are we last minute? Yes. But right now I am getting dinner finished up so that I can move on to getting these dips that are going to be put into the fridge for a couple of days for our Thanksgiving. Where is my brain? It's not Thanksgiving. Christmas Eve. So we do Christmas Eve celebrations with the family, the kids and the grandkids, and so we have to get that food ready. So for a very easy dinner tonight, we're just doing spaghetti. And you saw me cooking up that meat over here. Get those in there. And I'm just doing some of the half-length spaghetti noodles. And I'm going to work on chopping up this meat into smaller pieces and getting it all cooked. I did have some onion in here, so that's going to give it lots of extra flavor. And then I'm just adding a big jar of Prego. I still have to pack our bags for our trip tomorrow, so like I said, we have lots and lots to do today. I made 4 party dips for our Christmas Eve celebration with the kids. We have millionaire dip, we have dill pickle dip, and some spinach dip, and some cookie dough dip. The next day we were off on our trip to Chicago. We decided we wanted to travel by train just for the experience and to not have to be out on the highway. This was just a quick 2-hour train ride to the Windy City, and I wanted Christmas lights. Boy, did I get Christmas lights. Our hotel served up a complimentary breakfast every day, and we sure did enjoy that. We enjoyed fast food, street food, and fine dining. We also had a Whole Foods grocery store right across the street from our hotel. We had such a great time, and it is a trip that we will always remember. But coming home was a little bit of a fiasco for us. First, we were stranded in the train station for 10 hours. Our train was delayed because there was no conductor and for other mechanical reasons. And then when we were finally able to board our train, it was another 7.5-hour ride home. And remember, it's only a 2-hour trip. So we lost a whole day and we had to come home and sleep. And then I got up and went to the store and quickly grabbed some cupcakes, some donut holes, some crackers, and some veggies to make a veggie tray to go along with those dips that I had made beforehand. I'm so glad that I made those dips ahead of time. And then I also ended up picking up some fried chicken from the grocery store deli in the cold section, and I just popped it into my big roaster, and that way we had fried chicken and some dips and chips and crackers and some veggies and also some goodies on the side. Our Christmas Eve with our kids and grandkids went off without a hitch, except for we were a little bit tired, but it was still good all the same. We had games like this candy cane game that the kids really enjoyed. And then we played our headbands game, Christmas version. And then we also did family charades. And of course, Santa came and passed out gifts from Grandma and Grandpa to all the little grandkids. Aside from buying our hams ahead of time, we actually didn't get around to grocery shopping for our Christmas dinner, but we made the best of it by just going through our pantry and finding everything that we could make to round out this dinner with this ham. So I am starting with the glaze that comes with the spiral ham, and I'm adding a little bit of water to that and some honey. And I know that typically you would probably cook this on the stove top and dissolve all those granules down, but I didn't do that. I just mixed it together with some water and then added some honey, and then I think I forgot to push the record button, but I did pour it in between all of the layers of the ham before flipping it back over and then pouring it on top of the whole ham. And then I just sealed it up tight in some foil so that it was tucked in nice and tight to keep all that steam in. And then I put it in my oven on 375 and just let it go. Next, I'm making some canned green beans because that's what I had in my pantry. And so I drained 2 cans and then left the liquid of 1 can. And then I had an onion soup mix and I just mixed that in as well. And these beans turned out so delicious. I think that I will never make them any other way. I added a glob of butter. This is actually margarine because I had no butter. And so since it's Christmas, we're going to do 2 globs because, you know, it's Christmas. And so we're using that same tub of margarine, and I am just greasing up this dish that I received for Christmas this year from my daughter. And so I'm just making up a double batch of cornbread because you got to have some bread or some rolls, right? And I had these in my pantry as well. And I am just adding the 2 eggs that it calls for. And then I'm using some evaporated milk and some water. And then the remainder of the small container of sour cream that I had in my fridge as well. I am so glad that I always seem to have a couple boxes of Jiffy cornbread mix in my pantry, and these were just the perfect side dish to have with that ham.
While the ham and the cornbread are cooking in the oven, I'm getting these potatoes ready. I had these really large baking potatoes. I had 2 left over in my potato bin, and then all of the smaller ones on the back of the cutting board were all growing eyes, but I just cut off any bad spots and took the whatever they're called, eyes, just removed those and salvaged what I could of these potatoes, and ended up with enough potatoes to make a whole pot of mashed potatoes. I can't believe that with all the shopping that we didn't consider getting all of the items that we wanted for our Christmas dinner. But anyway, after those potatoes were boiled and ready to mash, I just added some house seasoning, some more of that margarine, and this time I had to use half and half, which I always have on hand for my coffee, to use in place of milk because we were out of milk. And I like to mix up my mashed potatoes with the hand beater or mixer, and then I like to do them a little on the drier side so that I can add milk as I need it, or broth, or whatever I'm using at the time. This time is half and half. And so dinner is all done. Our ham turned out perfectly. That glaze was super delicious. These beans were so good. Like I said, I will always make them that way. I made up some ham gravy with the drippings from my ham. That was really good too. And so we had that cornbread, and what is in the back of the pan here? Oh yeah, that was some boxed macaroni and cheese. Bill made that and added some extra slices of cheese to it. I do not have any objections to having Kraft macaroni and cheese on Christmas, because we're just thankful to have Christmas dinner at all. And so to go with our dinner, I am making a Black Forest bundt cake. So this is something that I did plan on all along, and I had previously bought the cake mix and put it in my pantry so that I knew I had it, as well as the cherry pie filling. And so all I did for this was mix it up according to the box directions as usual. And I didn't have enough oil, so I melted down some of that margarine to make my full half cup of oil that it was called for on the box. And so I just whipped that up with my mixer, and I'm going to just pour half of that into my greased bundt pan. I did have to use that margarine to grease the pan, and I'm just making sure that that gets swirled all around in a nice even layer. And then I just scooped in those cherries right down the middle. And then I'm going to come back and cover those cherries up with the remaining half of the cake batter. And now for a bundt cake, it calls for baking it for 30 to 36 minutes. And I put it on 30 minutes, meaning to just give it a check and then go from there. But during all of the hustle and bustle of getting dinner around and cleaning up the house a little bit from the Christmas mess, when the timer went off, I just grabbed my cake and set it out to cool without even thinking to check it. And it actually needed those other 5 to 6 minutes because it did not cook all the way through. And so here is what I ended up with. It kind of fell in the middle, but it was very tasty, to say the least. And then so I just sprinkled mine with some powdered sugar just to kind of give it that snowy look that I kind of associate with Christmas. And this is why I like Black Forest cake on Christmas Day. And then when I was ready to eat my piece of cake, I just put some whipped topping on there. Nobody else in my family likes whipped topping, so I didn't put it on the whole cake. And then we also had this goodie tray. These are snacks that we were given on Christmas Eve by our kids and grandkids to bring home. And so I just put them all on one tray for us to snack on throughout the evening on Christmas night, while we were just having a quiet night at home. resting and relaxing from a very full and busy Christmas week. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I thank you so much for stopping by. I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.